Welcome back to video number 2 for Tuesday. Okay, you guys, Harry Markle, that is actually a pretty good analogy of what's happening. So let's just jump in and cover what's coming out, shall we? Let's go. Let's look at what's really going on and what's being reported as going on. Apparently, it's being reported that Harry is literally moaning and complaining to his pals that instead of being the spare to William, he's now the spare to Meghan. You know, he wrote in The Spare about growing up in the shadow of William, and now he's more and more dissatisfied in his life in California. I find it amazing that it has taken this long for him to cotton on to the fact that he went from William's spare to Meghan's spare. I think a lot of us have discussed this in the past. He is growing sick of the Hollywood lifestyle. He dislikes constantly being overshadowed by Meghan in public. We know what happened in Colombia. We remember what happened in Nigeria. He seems to be in a much better mood when he's back in the UK on his solo trips without Meghan. We all saw with our own eyes how Harry was sulking around the whole time in Colombia because he knew that it was all for Meghan. What I don't understand is why he continues on. Like after what happened in Nigeria, why would he continue on with this farce? Why did he even continue on and go to Colombia? I mean, they're trying so hard to stay relevant, but this is just ridiculous. So both trips, they're saying, are really highlighting how Meghan is so comfortable stepping into the spotlight, whereas Harry cuts a sulky, unhappy figure in the background because, you know, he wanted to carve out his own life in California, and instead everything is for Meghan. So now he wants to try to carve out a way back into royal life, and this is where the stories are coming from, that he's trying to heal the rift and reach out to his old friends and associates. This is going to be a problem. He is looking for a part-time role, and we already know that he and Meghan were both told, no, you either work for the crown or you're out. There is no half role. But as is usual, Harry seems to think that the rules don't apply to him, and if he bothers his father enough, maybe his father will give him what he wants. I don't see that happening per se, no. In the meantime, the royal family has decided they're going to continue to not talk about the spare and what Harry put in it. They're completely ignoring all of Harry's allegations. He is still asking for an apology. He's never going to get it. The royal family, however, wants an apology from Harry and Meghan, which of course is never going to happen, which is why we keep hearing about the olive branch and the rift and the family's going to heal. The family is never going to heal, you guys. This is permanent. They are comparing Harry and Meghan now to Wallis Simpson and the then Duke of Windsor because they wanted their regal status back. And Prince Charles, as he was then, apparently went to their home in, Paris with the British ambassador. It was a surprise visit. The Duke wasn't expecting them, but was happy to see them. The Duke was hoping for rehabilitation, just like Prince Harry. The Duke of Windsor, who, by the way, gave up his throne for this woman 11 months after he became king, and we found out later on through letters of hers that she never loved him. He got totally duped, which I think is also an interesting Harry-Meghan parallel. Anyway, he never did get forgiveness from the royal family, and 18 months after he met with Charles, he died in France from throat cancer at the age of 77. So palace sources are always saying that King Charles is willing to consider a rapprochement with Harry, but I just don't think it's going to work. You guys should know that back in 1970, in order to offer that olive branch to the Windsors in Paris, he decided to invite them for a weekend visit to England, but the senior courtiers said no. It was at that point that he decided to go to Paris to see him because the Queen Mother at the time, his grandmother, blamed the early death of her husband because of the abdication. Now, during the Second World War, Wallis Simpson and the Duke were sent to the Bahamas, and while they were there, they demanded from Prime Minister Winston Churchill for more official recognition, and they didn't get it. The king knew that allowing the two of them to return, it would be showboating, parties, politics, and a toxic sideshow that would make his role impossible. And so Prince William sees the exact same scenario by allowing Harry and Meghan to return. They completely generate negative royal publicity. It's limitless. It's books, TV series, interviews. And so the royal family is just not going to give them the chance to do that. So what's being reported is that in the wake of the Queen's death 2 years ago, the royal family is still fragile, especially with the king having cancer, Catherine having cancer, and Harry returning would just be like a wrecking ball coming through. And that while Charles may be willing to consider it, William is not. And as the heir to the throne, William is the one that's calling the shots. I find it very interesting to this day that it's being said that Charles should bring Harry back into the fold. Did people forget about his Netflix docuseries? Did people forget where they did a freedom flight? It wasn't that they were thrown out. They left. They ran for their physical safety. Let's not forget that they even lied. They put up this picture, which come to find out was from a Harry Potter premiere. They can't even tell the truth in their own documentary. How about the Spotify deal where we knew they were going to be dishing and she was going to be taking swipes at the royal family, which she did. And once again, Harry was completely overshadowed. It was all about Meghan. He was just an afterthought. The person that I worry for is William. Because now that the spare has come out, what William has learned is that his beloved brother, who was always his sidekick, who he always thought had his back, was actually so jealous of him and watching every move that he made and was vying for Pa's attention the whole time. Could you imagine growing up with this man as your brother, only to find out later on that he was so jealous of you he couldn't see straight? One of the rumors that's going around right now is that Harry really doesn't want to return to the royal family. He's just putting these stories out to get attention because the spare and paperback is about to be released, and he wants to get all the attention he can possibly get because the paperback needs to sell better than the hard copy did. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys, I want your comments, so make them good. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. Go down into the description box. You'll find the link to video number 3. You don't want to miss it. Follow me over. Let's go.